The sky over Junker 9 was always dusty. Thick clouds of metal particles floated above the scrapyard world, blocking most sunlight. Everything on the surface looked rusted: ships, machines, even the rocks. Ryan Dax stood on top of a wrecked cargo hauler, scanning the endless field of broken tech. His boots crunched on old plating. A faint buzz came from his scanner. Something was buried beneath the wreck. He jumped down, his coat fluttering behind him. His hands moved fast, prying open a hatch with a scrap welder. After 20 minutes of digging, he found it, an intact fusion core, still glowing blue at the center. Ryan's heart pounded. This could power a warship, he whispered. For years, the High Command had dumped their broken ships and weapons here. They thought it was trash, but Ryan didn't see trash. He saw opportunity. He tapped his comm. Laz, Juno, get to Zone 12. Now, bring a hoverlift. A few hours later, the core was hidden deep inside an old mining cave. That night, Ryan stood before a group of 5 people, his crew. Each of them had lost something to the High Command. Family, freedom, hope. He held up the fusion core. They throw us junk, but this is power, real power. You want to sell it? Asked Laz, a tall man with cybernetic eyes. No, Ryan said firmly. We build a ship from the scraps, and we fight. Silence. You mean, like a battle cruiser? Juno asked. She was short, sharp, and one of the best engineers on the planet. A ghost ship, Ryan said. A legend. We'll call it the Revenant. One of the crew laughed nervously. From trash. Yeah, Ryan said. From trash. He looked around at the faces lit by firelight. Tired. Dirty. But not broken. They think we're nothing, he said. Let's prove them wrong. Everyone slowly nodded. The decision was made. Later that night, Ryan stood alone outside the cave, looking up at the stars hidden behind dust clouds. He remembered his brother, taken by a High Command raid when they were kids. That memory burned inside him like the fusion core now hidden below. They'll see us coming, he said to himself, and they'll regret everything. Inside the dark cave, the sound of welding echoed off the stone walls. Sparks lit the shadows as Ryan and his crew worked day and night. The Revenant was beginning to take shape, slowly, piece by piece. The frame was made from broken hauler ribs and leftover frigate armor. Engines were pulled from different wrecks, some decades old. Juno rewired every power circuit by hand. Laz spent hours crawling through tight spaces, setting up the core systems. We're making a monster, he muttered, wiping grease from his face. No, Ryan said. We're making a message. The work was hard. Parts didn't always fit. Systems failed. Once, an engine overloaded and caught fire. Smoke filled the cave. They barely got it under control. That thing's gonna blow us up before we even launch, one crew member joked, coughing. But they kept going. Each day, the ship looked more alive. They used junk in smart ways, combining High Command weapon systems with old mining lasers, building new tech from scraps. Juno even created a defense system from satellite parts. One night, while scavenging in the deep plains, Ryan found something buried beneath a broken cruiser, a sealed AI core. It was still active. He stared at the blinking light. Could this work? He whispered. Back in the cave, he handed it to Juno. She studied it with wide eyes. This is military grade. Advanced. But damaged. Can we fix it? Ryan asked. I'll try, she said. It'll take time. 3 days later, the AI core powered up. Its voice was flat, metallic. Unit operational. No command input detected. The Revenant had a brain now. The crew stared at it in awe. She speaks, Juno said, grinning. More than that, Ryan said. She listens. With the AI helping them optimize the systems, progress sped up. The ship responded better. Energy flowed cleaner. Weapons locked faster. The Revenant was no longer just a ship made from scraps. She was a living weapon. But with progress came pressure. Supplies were low. Someone had to sneak into a high command outpost to steal fuel cells. "I'll go," Ryan said. "No," Laz replied. "You're the heart of this. We need you here." So they sent a runner. He returned 3 days later, bruised and limping, but alive. The fuel was enough to keep building. As weeks passed, the crew grew stronger. They trusted each other. They laughed between shifts, shared stories, and ate together under the glow of the fusion core. And one day, the ship spoke. Designation confirmed. Revenant. Ready for combat systems test. The crew cheered. Even the cave walls seemed to vibrate with power. But in the shadows, a small drone, broken, half-active, blinked red. It had picked up a signal. And it was still connected to the high command network. Outside the cave, under the dust-filled sky, something old and forgotten had awakened. Far above Junker 9, in the quiet dark of space, a signal blinked across a hidden high command relay. It was weak, broken, just noise, but it caught the attention of a listening station near the Eclipse line. Inside the station, a technician noticed something odd. "Sir," he called out, "I've got power readings from Junker 9. Big ones, not normal for a scrapyard." Admiral Elric Thorne turned from the viewing window. Tall, clean, and cold as steel, he didn't speak at first. "Send it through," he said finally. The screen lit up with wave patterns, energy spikes, eye movement, encrypted systems. "Someone's building something," the tech said. "Big." Thorne narrowed his eyes. "Scrap rats shouldn't have this kind of tech," he said. "Send a scout fleet. Quiet. I want eyes on the ground." Back on Junker 9, Ryan and his crew were running final tests. "The Revenant's main cannons are stable," Juno said. "Core holding steady. We're ahead of schedule." "Let's test her weapons," Laz said with a grin. They moved the ship onto a flat stretch of the canyon. The AI activated targeting systems. A drone was launched for target practice. Target locked. Firing sequence ready. A blast of blue energy roared from the cannon. The drone exploded instantly. The ground shook. The crew stared at the crater left behind. "From junk," Juno whispered. "That's power." Ryan smiled. "That's just the start." But deep in the sky, small black ships had entered orbit. Silent, sleek, and watching. One of them sent a pulse back to Thorne's command cruiser, the Dominance. "They've built a warship, sir," the scout pilot reported. "Big. Armed. Looks like Edgeworld tech, but enhanced." Thorne turned slowly toward the galaxy map. "A rebellion made of trash," he said. "How poetic." He ordered the fleet to prepare for a full strike. That night on Junker 9, the crew gathered around a small fire near the ship. Ryan handed out old ration bars. They talked about the stars, about freedom, about what they'd do when this was over. Juno looked up at the Revenant, her eyes glowing in the firelight. "She's beautiful, isn't she?" she said. "She's ours," Ryan replied. Suddenly, the AI's voice cut in. Long-range sensors detecting movement in upper orbit. Pattern matches high command. Everyone froze. "They found us," Laz said quietly. Ryan stood up, staring into the night. "They're coming." He turned to his crew. "Get ready." The air on Junker 9 felt heavier the next morning. Dust swirled in strange patterns. Static crackled in the rocks. Even the machines hummed differently. In the cave, Ryan stood in front of the crew. "The high command is here," he said. "This is not a drill. This is it." Laz checked the long-range scanner. Red blips filled the screen. 8 ships in low orbit. One of them's a destroyer. The rest are fast fighters and drop carriers. "We're outnumbered," Juno said quietly. Ryan looked at her, but not outmatched. The Revenant was fully powered now. armor in place, shields online. Eye ready. The fusion core pulsed like a beating heart. The crew rushed into final prep. Systems were checked, weapons loaded, fuel lines secured. Inside the ship, lights flickered to full brightness. Revenant online, the AI said. All systems green. Awaiting launch command. Outside, a thunder-like sound echoed across the canyon. The first dropships were entering the atmosphere. They're coming fast, Laz said. ETA, 10 minutes. Ryan turned to the crew. This is our world. We built this ship with our hands, our minds, and our pain. We don't run. We rise. Everyone nodded. No fear, just fire. Let's fly. The cave ceiling split open. Mechanical arms lifted the Revenant toward the surface. As the sunlight hit the hull, the ship gleamed, sharp edges, patched armor, glowing engines. It looked like a ghost from a lost war. The Revenant rose into the air. Dust swirled around her as the engines roared. Altitude climbing. Weapons online, the AI reported. From the sky, the enemy ships came into view, sleek, silver, and polished. They moved in formation, confident and cold. Targets locked, Juno said. First wave incoming. Engaging, the AI responded. The Revenant fired. Twin plasma blasts shot out from her cannons, hitting 2 fighters directly. Fireballs lit the sky. The remaining ships scattered. Nice shot, Laz said, gripping the controls. Enemy fighters began to swarm. Bright beams of energy zipped past the Revenant's wings. The ship dodged and spun, engines burning hot. Brace, Ryan shouted. A missile struck the side of the ship. Shields flared, but held. Minor damage. Hull integrity stable, the AI confirmed. The Revenant fought back hard. Scrap-built turrets tracked enemies with surprising precision. Modified mining lasers tore through sleek fighter hulls. Inside the command ship Dominance, Admiral Thorne watched silently. That ship should not exist, he said. End it. Back on the surface, the Revenant dove low, using the terrain as cover. She weaved through canyon walls, drawing enemy ships into traps. Laz activated the EMP pulse. A burst of blue light knocked 2 more ships from the sky. They crashed in flames. The crew cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. A larger ship was descending now. The Dominance's personal assault carrier. It was heavy, shielded, and full of troops. They're trying to land ground forces, Juno warned. Ryan grit his teeth. No, this ends in the sky. He keyed the comms and sent a signal on open frequency. This is Ryan Dax of Junker 9. You left us with scraps. We turned it into strength. You are not welcome here. There was silence. Then a cold voice replied. This is Admiral Thorne. You are nothing. Just noise. Ryan stared ahead. Then hear us roar. He gave the command. All power to weapons. Aim for the carrier. The Revenant shot forward like a spear. Enemy fire lit the sky around her, but she didn't stop. Firing. The main cannon blasted the carrier midair. The explosion rocked the sky. Flames rained down. Cheers erupted across the crew. Junker 9 had just won its first battle. But Ryan knew the war was not over. They'll send more, Laz said. Let them, Ryan replied. We'll be ready. The stars over Junker 9 burned brighter that night. The Revenant hovered just outside the atmosphere, above the dusty clouds. Its metal hull was scorched. Parts of the armor had melted, but it was still flying, still strong. Inside the control room, Ryan stood at the command seat. His hands were tight on the rail. His jaw was set. We stopped their first wave, he said, but now we go to them. Laz raised an eyebrow. You mean, into space? To the fleet. Ryan nodded. Thorne's flagship is still out there. If we don't strike, they'll regroup and come back with more. We take the fight to them. Now. Juno looked up from her console. The Revenant can do it. Weapons are charged. Shields are stable. But once we go, we can't turn back. We don't need to, Ryan said. This ends today. The AI chimed in. Coordinates locked. Enemy fleet in geostationary orbit. Launch path clear. Ryan looked at his crew. Tired but ready. Every one of them had come too far to stop now. Let's finish this. The Revenant shot into space like a comet. Junker 9 shrank below. Ahead, the vast black of the Eclipse galaxy opened wide. Then they saw it. Admiral Thorne's fleet, 10 ships in a curved formation, waiting like a trap. In the center, the flagship Dominance, 20 times the size of the Revenant. They're ready for us, Juno said. Good, Ryan replied. So are we. Engaging enemies, the AI announced. The first wave came fast. Fighter swarms with high-speed guns. The Revenant twisted through them, firing from all sides. Plasma blasts lit up the dark. Explosions blinked like stars. Shields at 70%, Juno called out. Keep moving, Ryan said. Never stop. Laz spun the ship hard, dodging a missile. He flipped a switch, activating scrap drones. Metal orbs launched from the sides of the Revenant. Each one carried parts of broken machines, sharp, jagged, and deadly. They floated like a minefield. Enemy ships hit them and tore apart. Direct hit, Juno shouted. We got 3 with that. But the Dominance wasn't moving. It was holding back. Watching. Ryan frowned. He's waiting for us. Then let's not make him wait, Laz muttered. The Revenant pushed forward, breaking through the last wave. Now, only the massive flagship stood ahead. Final target locked, said the AI. They opened comms. Thorne's face appeared on the screen. Calm, proud, certain. You really think your trash ship can take me down, he said. Ryan stepped closer. You threw us away. But we learned to build from the pieces. You made us. Thorne leaned forward. Then I'll unmake you. The Dominance fired a giant energy beam. The Revenant dodged left, just in time. The heat scorched their hull. Return fire, Ryan shouted. They hit the Dominance with everything. Plasma, lasers, scrap missiles. The big ship shook but kept firing. Shields dropped to 40%, then 30%. Cores heating up, Juno warned. We can't take much more. Ryan fought fast. Divert all power to the main cannon. One last shot. That's all we'll get. Laz nodded and rerouted the energy. Lights inside the ship flickered. Everything else went dark. Charging main weapon, the AI said. Impact window. 5 seconds. The Revenant lined up the shot. Ryan stared at the screen. Thorne was still there, smiling. You'll never win, Thorne said. You're just. Ryan hit the trigger. The cannon fired. A beam of raw energy punched through the Dominance's core. The explosion lit up the sky. The flagship broke apart in silence. No more words, only fire. The enemy ships scattered. Some were disabled. Others turned and fled. The Revenant drifted quietly, smoke trailing from its sides. Inside, the crew sat in silence. Then Juno laughed softly. We did it. Ryan closed his eyes for a moment. Then he spoke. It's over. The Revenant floated above the silent wreckage of the Dominance. The great warship that once ruled the edge of the Eclipse galaxy was now just drifting metal and fire. Inside the command deck, Ryan sat quietly, staring at the stars. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, just the weight of everything that had happened. Juno wiped her face with a rag. Her voice was soft. Shields are gone. Hulls cracked in 3 places. But we're still here. We survived, Laz added, leaning against a broken console. They'll remember that. Ryan nodded. They have to. The AI's voice broke the silence. Enemy fleet in full retreat. No further threats detected. So just returning to surface for repairs and recovery. Take us home, Ryan said. The Revenant turned slowly and began its descent toward Junker 9. Below, the dusty clouds opened, and the world that built them came into view. As the ship touched down in the canyon, people began to gather. Hundreds of scavengers, workers, and families stood watching in awe. They had seen the sky light up during the battle. They knew something big had happened, and now they saw the proof. The Revenant, scared but standing. Ryan walked out first. The crowd was silent, staring. Then someone clapped. Another shouted. Then came the cheers. Loud, wild, unstoppable. He raised his hand and spoke into the comm system, letting his voice reach every corner of the settlement and beyond. This is Ryan Dax of Junker 9. You all saw what happened in the sky. That was no miracle. That was us. He paused, looking at the battered ship behind him. They gave us scrap. We gave them fear. We showed them that edge worlds aren't weak. We're not forgotten. We're the fire they can't put out. The message spread. Every ship with a working comm picked it up. On distant scrap planets, in hidden outposts, people listened. In a rusted bunker on another world, a young boy sat alone, holding a broken tablet. He heard Ryan's voice and smiled. He looked around at the junk surrounding him and stood up. He began to gather pieces. Later that night, Ryan sat on a rock beside the Revenant, watching the stars. The dust in the air made them shimmer like they were blinking back. Juno sat beside him. "Do you think they'll come back?" she asked. "Maybe," Ryan said. "But if they do, they'll know what waits for them." Laz joined them, carrying 3 metal cups of warm synth coffee. He handed them out. "To scrap," he said, raising his cup. Ryan smiled. "To the ship we built." Juno added softly, "To the world we saved." They clinked their cups and drank. Above them, the Revenant stood tall in the canyon, lit by the glowing heart of its fusion core. No longer just a ship, a symbol, a warning, a legend.